This episode of ETC is brought to you by Pacific Rim Uprising. In theaters, March 23rd.
Hey guys, time for another Tech News Day.
And we begin this week with, oh god, it's another one of those damn Boston Dynamics robots trying to impress our weak human minds before its friend sneaks up behind us with a knife. Okay, it actually isn't a Boston Dynamics robot, though it does look pretty similar to their Spot Mini robot. This one's actually from a Swiss robotics company called Animal, get it? Animal Research, and so those weird, vaguely threatening movements it's doing is actually an attempt by a Swiss university to teach robots how to dance.
It's gonna end up like Footloose.
Yeah. There's no dancing robots in this town.
Get them out of here! This sucks though. The robot race has started. Now, if you're competing with Boston Dynamics, it is going to end up with who can kill each other's robot first.
Yeah.
And not like those stupid mechs over in Japan.
Well, at least we can pit these robot companies against each other before they divert their attention to us.
I like these ones because they're limber. They can do backflips and stuff. It's gonna be way more entertaining than watching those big, giant fucking Truckosaurus things.
Dumb.
Anyways, it's safe to say that these robots aren't taking anyone's professional dancing jobs anytime soon, and definitely aren't gonna steal your girl in the club. It would hurt to booty dance on one of these things.
Ow!
Ow! I would like to see a robot recreation of Singing in the Rain, though.
Yeah.
Make them laugh, it doesn't fucking backflip.
They don't need to flip the camera upside down to get that Fred Astaire dancing on the ceiling shit.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Anyways, these robots, they probably will start taking dancer jobs and your girl one day, though. The goal of this project was to get the robot to hear music playing nearby, quickly analyze the song's BPM, and then move in sync with it. And it mostly succeeded, especially with the dance music where the beats are heavy and distinct. Send this thing to EDC. It even changes its movements on the fly when the song suddenly changes. So this is kind of like, I mean, they developed these lights for clubs in the 80s and 90s where it would hear the BPM and like go with it.
It's like that, except it's choosing its moves.
Okay.
Just like me, choosing my moves, just based off the ETC background music that I can't
Oh, you
hear
mean
right
that loud
now.
air conditioning that hums and the echo?
Anyway, as for how this dancing robot would ever be practical, well, the goal is not to create an army of dancing dog robots, but rather to improve the ways that robots react to changing situations. So in this case, it hears the music, it analyzes it, dances to it, and most importantly, it analyzes its own movements to make sure that it's on the beat. So basically creating a feedback loop. Outside of dancing, this has a lot of potential in more practical situations like search and rescue and industrial surveying.
Now over in Japan, land of the robots, their latest, hottest robot is a bit more unusual. It's no Gundam or Asimo. It's a 20-inch tall robot wolf named Super Monster Wolf, being used by farmers to scare away wild boars who love nothing more than sneaking onto farms and eating all the crops. There's really not much to it. It's 4 metal legs with a fur body and a Halloween mask for a face. Fuck. What makes it different than a wolf-shaped scarecrow, though, is the fact that it uses infrared sensors to detect any wildlife within a 1-kilometer radius, and when it does, it lets out one of several sounds like wolf howls or gunshots.
Ahoo!
And they've made sure that they can't, humans aren't showing up in this on its radar.
I mean, even if they are, it's not gonna kill you, it's just gonna yell at you.
Yeah, but you can give you a heart attack. It's very scary.
If you run into one of these guys, you're trespassing. Maybe you deserve a heart attack.
Yeah, or a back full of rock salt.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of these super monster wolf things, they cost nearly $5,000.
Yeah.
But hey, still cheaper and more effective than installing an electric perimeter fence around an entire large farm. And you know those boars, they're smart. They'll figure out a way around it.
Yeah, they like the pain.
The real story here, though, is that the whole reason Super Monster Wolf is becoming so popular with farmers in Japan is that climate change has allowed wild boars to hang around in northern Japan year-round, as opposed to only in the warmer months, as they previously did for all of human history.
Yeah.
Boars already breed like rabbits, so giving them more land to devour and more time to do it has exploded the Japanese boar population over the last decade. Combine that with the fact that Japan's population isn't growing, and that young people are choosing the city life over the countryside, and now the only thing standing between Japanese farms and full-blown boar apocalypse is a furry robot dog that yells at anything that gets near.
Cool. Yay. That's fun for them. But speaking of bizarre Japanese inventions, 6 months ago, a team of Japanese engineers took it upon themselves to painstakingly create the world's longest spinning fidget spinner. In the meantime, of course, the fidget spinner fad has completely died out, but that team has now finally finished their pointless project and secured the Guinness World Record for longest spin ever. 24 minutes and 46 seconds.
Wait.
6 months ago, they'd have basically struck gold with this, but unfortunately with fads, you've really got to strike while the iron is hot, and now the record-breaking fidget spinner is just a weird reminder that for a brief period in time, the hottest toy on the planet was a tiny little wheel that people said cured their anxiety, but...
And now no one has anxiety, so we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, we solved the
We
problem.
cured autism and anxiety. We did it.
Yeah.
Moving on, remember a few years back when Uber was at its peak of dickish behavior under Travis Kalanick, and it came out that Uber employees had been ordering thousands of rides from rival company Lyft and then canceling them at the last minute. What a bunch of jerks. Well, that's the kind of petty behavior that got Kalanick ousted from that company, and turns out it's not unique to Uber. It recently came out that the restaurant reservation booking app OpenTable used a similar tactic against one of its rivals called Reserve.
This is fucked because... I mean, the Lyft riders, like, that sucks because they're not
It's an
getting paid for
inconvenience.
that.
This is like food going
But
places.
this is ruining, like, businesses who are, like,
Yeah.
expecting patrons.
Yeah.
Like, man, we're packed tonight. We're going to call in the extra
Hey,
staff.
can you guys come in? It's gonna be
it's
real
gonna be
busy.
wild. Anyways, the scheme seems to have been the work of one single OpenTable employee who has since been fired and whose behavior OpenTable swears they didn't condone or know about. But what they did was, I'm gonna do this, and then when it works out for the company, they're gonna love me, and I'm gonna get that promotion. That's probably what he thought. Yeah, but what they did was just constantly use Reserve to book reservations at dozens of Chicago restaurants and then just not show up. These restaurants all exclusively used Reserve as their reservation app partner, so the idea was to make Reserve seem shitty and unreliable so that OpenTable could then approach the restaurants and lure them to their own service.
Oh, you guys use Reserve? Yeah, people are always going on there and just not showing up.
But with us, we have a very loyal fan base.
Yeah, so the scheme reportedly began in December and peaked on Valentine's
What a
Day.
day to fuck businesses over.
Well, yeah, it's already a notoriously busy day in the restaurant business. The Reserve software engineers noticed an especially high amount of fraudulent activity on that day and began their investigation, eventually leading Reserve's security team to directly confront OpenTable, who apologized and said that they'd fired the employee. The Chicago restaurants, upon hearing the news, are understandably fucking pissed at OpenTable, and now even less likely to use their service since OpenTable essentially stole from them by leaving tables open and forcing restaurants to schedule more staff and more ingredients than they ended up needing. Really backfired.
I smell two things: a delicious meal at one of these Chicago restaurants and a lawsuit because it's literally provable that they were faking this business deal.
Yeah, so apparently it's nothing illegal happened, but there's definitely grounds for a civil suit.
Oh yeah, certainly. Just off lost profits alone.
Yeah.
As sketchy as that is, though, it's nowhere near as sketchy as Phantom Secure, a Canadian company specializing in selling encrypted phones whose CEO was recently arrested by the FBI for basically marketing his company's phone to drug cartels and biker gangs. His charges include racketeering and conspiracy to distribute narcotics. Phantom Secure's phones are essentially mods of existing Android and BlackBerry phones with the microphone, camera, and GPS removed, and encryption software installed, which also routes messages through overseas servers.
So that's all fairly sketchy, but just because a device can be used for nefarious purposes doesn't mean the device manufacturers are criminals. What got these guys in trouble, though, is that during an undercover investigation by Canada's Mounties, the Mounties went out of their way to present themselves as drug traffickers, and Phantom was totally cool.
Why are you on a horse? It's my drug horse.
It's a mule, actually.
Oh, okay.
We use literal drug mules.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, we're drug dealers, and Phantom, totally cool with it, saying their phones would be perfect for that sort of thing. According to Motherboard, the Mounties asked Phantom if it would be safe to send messages such as, for example, sending MDMA to Montreal, to which Phantom replied that it would be totally fine.
So in another incident, undercover agents posing as drug traffickers met with Phantom CEO Vincent Ramos in Las Vegas, saying they needed the phones to expand their drug trafficking operation, to which Ramos replied, "We made it specifically for this."
What an idiot.
So this guy's probably in some serious trouble, all because he couldn't shut the fuck up.
Come on, guys. Why do we have to keep reminding you?
Even if he did it with like a wink and a nod, who's to say that you couldn't do that? But instead he's like, no, this is what we made it for.
Yeah, it's great for that.
Yeah, thank you, drug traffickers. The most trustworthy people on the planet. Now, there's nothing inherently evil about encryption, and in the example of the FBI demanding a backdoor into all iPhones, we're glad Apple stood their ground. But in this case, illegal activity was Phantom Secure's bread and butter. Hopefully this leads to even more arrests, because they basically... I'm sure this guy,
They were working with the Hells Angels and the Sinaloa cartel.
as smart as the
lock 'em up.
CEO is, he probably has a ledger of like information that he sold the phones to. You don't need the GPS.
Yeah.
Now he's probably an informant.
Beautiful honeypot.
Yeah.
Anyway, some of you were very angrily demanding to know where the hell Phil was last week. And we can't tell you, aside from the fact that he was filming something pretty cool that also features us.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's back this week to update us on a whole handful of things. So let us know, Phil.
Sometimes on this show, I feel like I'm living in a nightmare that's somewhere between Groundhog Day and a procedurally generated AI hellscape that never ends because the computer won't let it. I'm always complaining about net neutrality or Equifax, and it's like, how much longer are these stories gonna go on? Well, I'm trying to move on to other stuff, but telecom companies and the government just keep making these stories float to the surface like a corpse in Lake TechNewsDay. Ajit Pai, you know that guy, well, he might be out of the spotlight this week when it comes to net neutrality, but America's most hated company, Comcast, swooped in to make sure we can't stop talking about them or net neutrality. Tutanota is an encrypted email service based in Germany, and on March 1st, they basically didn't exist if you were a Comcast customer. People all over Reddit tried to figure out if it was an outage with the company or a DDoS attack, or maybe the reason Comcast customers were getting a connection timed out message was that maybe Comcast was blocking them. Everybody who wasn't using Comcast had no problem connecting to the encrypted email site, and magically March 2nd, the next day, once the sun rose, the site was working again for Comcasters. That's what I call it, customers. Probably don't like it. But guess what? Big C, Comcast, it's a bad name for them, they gave no answers as to why this happened. So the bummer here is that this will surely happen more and more as net neutrality dies a slow death, and ISPs, they're gonna have to give exactly zero explanation as to why, because they're gonna be somewhere between their legal full right of it because of Ajit Pai killing net neutrality. But, on the other hand, states started suing the FCC over net neutrality back in January, so killing off Ajit Pai's sword slicing down net neutrality, it might not be the one-hit kill that we thought it was going to be. Cities are stepping up on the local government level with their mayors banding together and refusing to do business with companies that don't support net neutrality. That's cool. They've created the Cities Open Internet Pledge for cities that want to fight for net neutrality, and a bunch of mayors in major cities have signed on. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio said, "We will not do business with any vendor that does not honor net neutrality. We need to name and shame any company that doesn't honor net neutrality." Boom. New York, Portland, Austin, Baltimore anchor a growing list of cities that are putting their money where their mouth is, and that's what these big companies understand. Money. I always ask everyone watching to vote, and if you don't live in cities or countries where this particular net neutrality issue affects you, you can vote with your wallet for net neutrality or other things. Don't give awful companies that violate net neutrality your cash, in the same way that you don't reward EA for trying to milk you for every penny you're worth with their DLC, Battlefront 2 or not. So stick together, spend your hard-earned cash elsewhere, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, we can make a dent in these assholes' profits.
All right, in other news, Elon Musk's plan for the Boring Company got a bit of an update last week via some tweets from Musk indicating that the Boring Company's plan for local mass transit is going to focus its priorities first on pedestrian shuttles instead of cars. In case you need a refresher on the Boring Company, their plan is to create underground tunnels in major cities featuring platforms you drive your car onto, which carry your car across the city at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, avoiding traffic entirely. I still don't understand how, if this program is popular, there won't be lines to get in and use it, thus defeating the entire purpose. But putting them on shuttles and buses and doing it, now you have my attention.
Yeah. The plan's always included shuttles carrying people instead of cars, which are essentially subway cars, sharing the same
kind of the same thing.
They're sharing the same automated high-speed magnetic road or whatever with cars, and now Musk is saying that the mass transit aspect of the Boring Company will come first, with transportation for cars coming only after those needs are met. Again, pretty similar to a subway system, but one key distinction would be that instead of a small number of subway stations, the Boring Company system would consist of thousands of stations throughout a city that take up the space of a single parking spot, which would allow for trips to and from much more specific areas.
But how are you going to get there fast if there's so many stops?
Don't know.
A lot of holes in this Boring Company.
Yeah, they should call them the Swiss Cheese Company. All those holes.
Yeah, the screen door company. I could see right through it. The whole boring company operation is, of course, still in its very early stages, but is still really just a concept. But coming from a man who last month sent a car into space with a webcam attached to it, it's a concept that could work out in just a few years, maybe. Speaking of that Falcon Heavy launch, over the weekend at South by Southwest during the Westworld panel, creator Jonathan Nolan surprised audiences at the end of a presentation by welcoming Elon Musk on stage and debuting a short film that he'd made for Musk and SpaceX, featuring the David Bowie song Life on Mars and featuring previously unseen footage of the launch, showcasing the number of people and amount of work that went into the launch, as well as the excitement that people down in Florida felt watching this all go down. So that's cool.
Yeah. Why does Florida get all the launches?
They gotta have something, Elliot.
Yeah.
Because they probably didn't care about the wildlife and
Yeah, they're like, hey,
deafening
if
thousands-
something goes wrong, you know.
who cares about a crane? They're ugly birds. Kill them all with your rocket boosters. Because it's right on the coast and they used to have to drop all the
I
shit
get it,
there.
I get it. Anyway, that's our show this week. Sure to watch the latest
No
episode.
taxes either is a very,
Yeah, that's-
back in the days, they can't take your house.
That's why OJ lives there.
Yeah,
Can't take it.
it's a fun state.
Watch the latest episode of Tugs about, what was he even about? I don't remember.
Oh, the White House made a gaming
yeah.
montage.
Yeah, the hottest new YouTube channel, White
Yeah.
House. And also our most recent Monday show where we didn't eat hot peppers this time.
No.
We just talked.
I drank out of Joel's cup though.
And now,
I am
he's got
Joel.
herpes.
And now I'm Joel. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.